Hey everybody, welcome back to the Winamac Attacks Week 3 of NHL Weekly Update. I'm your host, Dom the Bomb, joined once more by Jake the Snake Armstrong. How you doing, my friend?
I'm wonderful. It's a great day to talk about hockey.
Yes, and happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there. We all hope that you had a great time and some time to relax with those that you love. All right, so let's jump into what's going on around the league here. First, we have a trade between Ottawa and Carolina. Jake, what's going on?
So Ryan Dzingel is moving back to Ottawa. They've had him in the past in exchange for Alex Galchenyuk and Cedric Paquette. And now Alex Galchenyuk has been on several teams in the last few years. This is actually his 6th team in 3 years.
Really, 6 teams?
In 3 years.
Wow, that's crazy. Have they been all trades, or has he been released before?
I believe he had to sign a contract last offseason, so he signed with Ottawa as a free agent. And he's on waivers again with Carolina, so he could be moving yet again.
Oh, wow. Well, we'll keep an eye on that for next week. All right, so moving on, Patrik Laine, his game against Chicago just the other night, he got into a fight and he scored a goal. Jake, what's going on?
So Patrik Laine has just been lighting it up lately. He's gotten chirped a bit because he technically lost that fight. He got knocked down. He landed a few good punches, but most importantly, he stood up for his teammates, and that's good to see for him being on that new team. So far this season, he has 6 goals in 7 games.
Wow, I think most of those are with Columbus too, right?
Right, he's just doing a really good job fitting into their system.
Yep, he was a player to watch, and man, is he performing well. All right, so Marc-Andre Fleury is back in the news, and is he going to be traded? What's the news on Fleury over there in Vegas?
So rumor has it that there could be a perfect fit. Pittsburgh wants to get a goalie, and they know that they've had Fleury, so they want him back on their team. And Fleury wants to retire a Penguin. We all know he spent a lot of his career in Pittsburgh. So far, the only one holding out is Vegas. Maybe they're holding out, they want a better offer. Regardless, we could see Fleury on the move back to Pittsburgh soon.
Man, I tell you what, I think that would be really good for Fleury. I think that he's been great for Vegas, but I feel like he's been spending more time on the bench than he really deserves to. But Robin Lehner's also a good goalie. I'd like to see him go back to Pittsburgh. I think he fit super well there, obviously winning cups. But yeah, I would love to see him go back to Pittsburgh personally.
And I think a lot of Pittsburgh fans would also like to see him return.
Absolutely. I would if I were a Pittsburgh Penguins fan. All right, so Barry Trotz is moving up on the all-time wins list. Jake, explain.
All right, Barry Trotz with the Islanders. He's got a way to win. He doesn't have the best team, but he's still finding a way to win games. He's just a good coach. The 850th win of his career is good for 3rd all-time. He passed Ken Hitchcock. The only coaches ahead of him are Scotty Bowman, and in 2nd place is Joel Quenneville, who is still with the Florida Panthers today.
Wow. I love it when history is made in the league. It's something that you don't see a whole lot, especially when it comes to moving up on an all-time list. That's remarkable.
Right, and especially the way he's doing it with a team like the Islanders, who doesn't have a lot of big players. It's just that system. He knows how to make teams win.
Absolutely. All right, next we have Columbus and a crazy offsides mistake made by the refs. Jake, what happened over in Columbus?
All right, this is just embarrassing for the league. Late in the 2nd period, Carolina scores a goal against the Blue Jackets. The Blue Jackets challenge it for offsides, and so the refs go to send it out to be reviewed. And before the review can actually come back, the refs come out to center ice. They make the announcement. After review of the play, we have a good goal. There is no offsides, and so Columbus gets the 2-minute minor penalty for delay of game because of a failed challenge. And they go to intermission a minute 15 later. So there's a minute 15 on that power play that's been served. During the intermission, the league contacts the officials and says, we actually were going to say that that was offside. And in the replay that they showed afterwards, it was offside. So when they returned to play, the last 45 seconds on that penalty were gone, but the goal stood. And then Pittsburgh went on to lose the game by 1 goal.
Wow. So that's crazy. So the refs accidentally rushed the review, gave the wrong call, and then waives the rest of the penalty, but the goal still stands.
You've heard about refs calling a game or deciding a game. It's just an absolute heartbreaker for Columbus.
Yeah, absolutely. You said they lost by a goal, right?
1 goal.
Wow. And is that in regulation?
Right. Didn't make it to OT.
Wow, that point could be costly, especially with the Central being as competitive as it is.
Right, it is a tight race.
All right, so our last bit of news for the week, we have Mikko Koivu has retired. What's going on with Koivu, and do you know why he decided to hang up his skates?
He's had a slow start. He signed with Columbus in the offseason after 16 years in the league, all with the Minnesota Wild. He tried it out in Columbus, didn't think he was ready to call it quits. After about 9 games, he wasn't having a very productive year, and he said that his teammates deserve better, and he's just not the guy for the team right now. So, honorable retirement.
Yeah, absolutely. He's had a great career. He's loved by a lot of fans. And, you know, when it's your time, it's your time. And kudos to him for knowing that and stepping away from the game when he did. All right, so that's it for the news. Let's get into the standings for the week as of last night. Let's start with the Central. All right, everybody, Tampa Bay is still in the lead with 21 points. However, their lead is not by that much. There is a 4-way tie at 18 points. Jake, 4 teams, including the Chicago Blackhawks, where no one would have expected that. How do you think the Central is going to play out here in the next week?
It could really go any way. All these teams are showing a lot of heart. They all know that any of them could make the playoffs. With no wild card, just 4 teams going to make it. They all know, hey, that could be us. And they want that spot, and they're fighting for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Tampa is holding to a very slim lead. Man, some exciting stuff over in the Central. All right, up next we have the East. The Boston Bruins lead it with 22 points and followed by Philadelphia with 18. And some unfortunate news for Capitals fans. They've lost 4 straight and have dropped to 3rd in the standings. Jake, how do you think the Caps are going to rebound, if at all?
Well, they've had some issues with injuries, especially with their COVID protocol issues, and the goaltending's been a bit inconsistent this year. So maybe get some consistent goaltending. It may have to come with a trade, or if Samsonov can just regain his crease, they've just got to figure it out on the back end.
I gotcha. Yeah, goaltending is crucial, especially in divisions that are competitive, and the East is definitely a competitive division. All right, so now in the West, the St. Louis Blues have the lead with 20 points as of right now, and they are followed by Vegas with 19 points. However, the Golden Knights have played a couple fewer games, so they're still right there with St. Louis. And then the Sharks and the Kings are still kind of sitting at the bottom. Jake, how do you think that division is going to play out for this week?
With a lot of COVID issues, we're going to run into some scheduling where teams will play each other back to back to back to back. Right now, the Blues and the Coyotes are in the middle of a 7-game series. It's 3-3 right now. So these teams, they'll play each other, win or lose. They know they're going to have the same team tomorrow night, maybe the next night, but they come back with a chip on their shoulders, and it makes great hockey.
I've been a fan of the new schedule, I can't lie. I like, if a team comes out and just kicks your butt, like, you have a chance to redeem yourself right away. It doesn't have to wait a couple months sometimes.
Right, those rivalries can spark up overnight.
Absolutely. All right, so finally we have the North. Toronto leads with 23 points. Man, they have been on fire recently. But hey, Montreal is still within 3 points. The Canadiens are fighting over there, and they just ended a winning streak for the Maple Leafs. So that is a team to watch out for in the upcoming future. And Edmonton has moved up to third in the standings after a very poor start. Jake, how do you think that division's going to wrestle things up a bit?
I think Toronto has a really good shot at not only leading their division, but even in the playoffs. They're a cup contender. They're big guys. They get made fun of. They spend $40 million on 4 players. And in the past, those guys haven't shown up when it counts. This year so far, you have Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, John Tavares. They're coming up big, and they're winning that team games. Other than them, the Canadiens, their depth is shining through. They're getting results from everyone on that team, including their backup goaltender, Jake Allen, who they acquired in the offseason. That's, of course, behind Carey Price, who is in a league of his own. And Edmonton, fun fact, just got their first win without a point from either Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl since 2017.
That's ridiculous. Man, that has to say something about the depth of that team and just how hard McDavid and Draisaitl have been working over the past few years.
Right, they've got a lot of weight to carry. So when fans say, well, McDavid's not that good because he hasn't had team success, he's really doing it all by himself with the exception of Leon Draisaitl.
Absolutely. Man, them two are so fun to watch. All right,
it does make for exciting hockey.
Yeah, so moving on now, speaking of players, let's go into our players to watch segment. Jake, let's start with you this time. Who's on your list?
I think Ryan Dzingel is going to be a great player to watch. He's going back to Ottawa. He's played in that system before. And when he left, he was worth a lot. So now that he's back, he can find his game again, and he can find the score sheet.
Yeah, he'll be an interesting one to watch. And obviously, he knows the system, so we'll see how he does. All right, so a couple more players to watch that I have listed. First is Quinn Hughes for the Vancouver Canucks. The young guy has 18 points for his squad. And let's be honest, the Canucks are struggling. Their stars aren't, I guess, shining as much as they normally do. And it's really showing. Their team has not been as good as they have in recent past. But Quinn Hughes is still finding ways to make plays, and that's remarkable for a guy who's as young as he is.
A team that lost that many players, they need guys like Quinn Hughes to really step up. I expect more of the same out of Elias Peterson and Brock Besser, who both had slow starts.
Absolutely. All right, so my second player to watch, Jake, you mentioned this man earlier, Austin Matthews. Leads the league with 11 goals, had an 8-game goal streak. That is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. All right.
The man wants to win.
Yeah, like you said earlier, after all this criticism, that team's got some fire underneath him right now.
Right, Toronto's a tough market, and you have to step up. If you want to play in Toronto, the media is going to come after you, and I think he's tired of getting bullied by the media.
Yep, it's showing right now. All right, so the last player, or players that I have, are the rookies of the Chicago Blackhawks. This team should not even be in the conversation for the playoffs. Going into the season, you trade Brandon Saad, you release Corey Crawford within 24 hours, the whole team is angry at management, everything seems like it's falling apart, and they are tied for second in the Central with 18 points. The Blackhawks. And it's all because of their rookies right now. Yes, Patrick Kane is playing phenomenal. Alex DeBrincat's putting goals in the back of the net. But you have people like Pius Suter leading all rookies in 6 goals. And then guess who's second? Philip Kurashev with 4. these guys are stepping up big for Chicago.
They might as well just take the nameplates off the back of those jerseys, because we don't know who's scoring, and honestly, it doesn't matter. They don't care that they don't have a name. They're gonna score on your team's goalie.
Yeah, for some reason, the coaching staff has just done a great job with these guys that no one expected, and no one probably knew who they were before this season, really. So that is just absolutely remarkable. All right, Jake, before we close, do you have anything else that you want to add or any comments?
Just going to be another exciting week to see where the standings are going to be the same time next week.
Absolutely. All right, thank you everybody for tuning in. This is Dom and Jake from Winnemac Hockey. We'll see you next time.